Las aranceles van a reemplazar el income tax.
You know, you're the only one that's asked me that. Oh, I deal with all these big financial geniuses. Nobody ever. There is a chance that the money from tariffs could be so great that it would replace. You know, in the old days, about 1870 to 1913, the tariffs were the only form of money. And that's when our nation was relatively the richest. We were the richest. Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so crazy?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Are tariffs inflationary? They can be, but not necessarily.
But if we import most of our products and we're applying tariffs to almost all the product we import, then that's going to be a huge price increase for pretty much all the goods that we buy.
But it's not correlated to the cost of the actual goods sold. Like the reason inflation happens is, oh, the price of oil goes up, so it's more expensive to run the factory. So then the goods become, nothing changed to make your shoe. Nothing. It's just that when it landed in the port of LA, there used to be a piece of paper that you would stamp that said 0%. Now the thing is stamped and it says 10%. The actual cost of making this thing has not gone up.
Yeah, but Nike's going to
pass
apply
that cost on.
Pass the cost
he's not
to the
saying
consumer.
that he's not saying that the cost doesn't get passed on.
Yeah.
So let's say
but it's a one-time pass through.
So let's say in the first year,
it's going to hurt tremendously.
Yeah. Nobody's saying it won't hurt, but why it's different than inflation. So in the first year, it would feel identical to inflation. In the second year, it would stay the same. Whereas in the second year with inflation, it would continue at that rate.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm saying is I'm just concerned about the people who are barely getting by, and now food's going to be more expensive.
No, 1,000%. But here's what they said, which is, I think you want to see this happen. What they said is there's going to be these price shocks. You're right. So year one is difficult, okay? But it could raise upwards of $750 billion a year, okay?
You're saying tariffs.
Tariffs. What they said that they would do is they would then turn around and cut the federal
income tax
for anybody making $150,000 or less to zero.
So what they're doing is using the tariffs to offset the price shock.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't.
But and this is the math, and that hasn't been 100% established yet. But instead of like putting the burden on the American consumer, we put the burden on the foreign country to pay that delta,
and then effectively subsidize the consumer through an income tax.
To be fair, the $750 billion, I assume, that's assuming everybody pays the tariff fully.
Okay, so this is an important point. I would say right now it's a moving target, meaning the sharps before Liberation Day, the smart money line was at like 250 billion. Okay. That's Wall Street. I mean, we'll put smart in quotes, but that was their number. And part of why the stock market went berserk was they just got it totally wrong. And the back of the envelope math that I did and that a couple of my friends did, and I would say they're much smarter than I am, they got to 750. I got to 750 as well. Howard Lutnick, who's a commerce secretary, said like anywhere approaching 750, we have a line of sight to be able to cut income taxes to zero for anybody making 150 or less.
Oof.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean,
so we're in the magic zone here, guys.
So here's
you know what I mean?
So there's a perfect example. Like, there's all this conversation about the midterms right now. Trump tanks the stock market. People get screwed over by what some people calling inflation, but like the price shock. But if you announce at the end of the year, there's a $750 billion surplus because of taxes, and we're eradicating income tax for people making under $150,000, midterms are going red.
I mean, bro, forget midterms. They'll want Trump for the third term. I mean, you know what I mean?
Boy, oh boy, what's going on, family? I hope everybody is blessed, well, healthy, and that nothing but the best is going on in all you beautiful people's life. And we got some big things to get into and talk about in today's video and show, especially after Trump made another bombshell announcement again of tariffs replacing income tax. And a lot of big things with taxes when it comes to President Trump. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Everything this man is proposing, his administration, this might be the best president of my lifetime. I'm just saying. You know, a lot of things that this man is doing, has accomplished. Everybody else didn't have the balls to do, or they talked about it. Now they're considered hypocrites. You know, bunch of frauds, fakes, criminals. You know, and they say, "Oh, he's a criminal, he's a felon, he's the big bad orange man." You know, and all we seen was witch hunts, shams, coming at their political opponent. Couldn't beat them fair and square. You know, but no taxes for anyone making under $150,000. Tariffs to replace income tax. What do y'all think about that, man? And he's going to make another bombshell announcement in an interview that was done, I believe, yesterday. But here's Lutnick.
How about no tax on tips? How about no tax on overtime? How about no Social Security? How about all those things? These are the kind of thoughts that will change America. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 a year. That's his goal. And that's what I'm working for.
That is President Trump's goal, man. And again, he's doing exactly what he campaigned on. You know, love or hate the man. There was a mandate. People won't change. You know, transparency. And now we see the camera in his face every single hour. And we send our prayers to Trump and the Trump administration, man. We are rooting for this administration. We're rooting for America, for a better way of life, you know, and for people to be held accountable. You know, a lot of things have taken place, man. We didn't even think it was America anymore. Third world country, you know, inside jobs, witch hunts, shams, you know. But before we get into that announcement, I want to play this video one more time. You might have seen it, you might not have seen it, but this broke the internet. Liberation Day, Trump called it, and let's check it out.
From 1789 to 1913. We were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting smart.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
President, let's talk about that. Rachel Campos Duffy speaking exclusively with President Trump. The full interview airing today at 4 p.m. on Fox Noticias. Trump covering a wide range of topics, including his work with El Salvador's president on immigration.
He's made it a very safe place. People go and they feel very secure and safe. He's also built one, but other also prisons, very big ones, and we're using his system because we're getting rid of our criminals from out of the United States that were allowed to come in by Biden. We're getting them out. And the president is helping us with that, President Bukele. So I was very impressed with him, really very impressed. Great guy.
Could we use it for violent criminals, our own violent criminals?
I call them homegrown criminals.
Yes.
I mean, the
homegrowns.
The ones that grew up and something went wrong and they hit people over the head with a baseball bat. We have, and push people into subways just before the train gets there, like you see happening sometimes. We are looking into it and we want to do it. I would love to do that.
Or set people on fire that are waiting on the subway. Yeah, the worst of the worst. Here with more is Fox and Friends Weekend co-host at the White House, Rachel Campos Duffy. Hey, Rachel, congratulations.
Hey, Ainsley, thanks so much. It was such an exciting day here at the White House. I was here when President Bukele came in. The military were right behind us with flags, greeting him. He drove up, he came into the meeting, and we got to interview Donald Trump right as he got out of that amazing Oval Office presser and interview with President Bukele. And, you could really sense, right out of the gate, out of this interview, I asked him about Bukele. He likes Bukele. He relates to that kind of toughness. President Bukele, of course, taking El Salvador from the murder capital of the world to the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. And when Donald Trump said, President Bukele said, hey, everyone's talking about my prisons and the thousands that are in there, but they don't talk enough about the millions that I've liberated, which is really true in El Salvador. It is like night and day. And Donald Trump didn't just like that Bukele, made his country safe again, something Donald Trump is working on, but he loved the language, the idea of it takes imprisoning those violent criminals to liberate the rest of the peaceful population. Just on a marketing level, I could tell Donald Trump really liked that.
Yeah, I loved your question on tariffs, and we're going to play it right now, because even Donald Trump said, Rachel, no one's ever asked me that question. So watch this.
Las aranceles van a reemplazar el income tax.
You're the only one that's asked me that. Oh, I deal with all these big financial geniuses. Nobody ever. There is a chance that the money from tariffs could be so great that it would replace. In the old days, about 1870 to 1913, the tariffs were the only form of money. And that's when our nation was relatively the richest. We were the richest.
And Rachel, you also taught him how to say, let's make America great again in Spanish. Watch this, everyone.
The theme of this was make America great again.
Right.
And it's so easy. People said, if you didn't win, this country was going to fail. It was going to fail. It was financially and otherwise, it was going to fail. Maybe even worse, in so many other ways with all of this horrible stuff that they made you believe. Our country was going to be a big failure, and it wasn't going to be long. I guess we're very close to 100 days, actually. And in this short period of time, we have made such an impact. We're respected all over the world again.
Mr. President, I'd like to teach you how to say, let's make America great again in Spanish. So, vamos a hacer América grande otra vez.
America grande otra vez.
Otra vez. It was so great.
Trump's something else, man.
Rachel started interviewing. He picked out America grande otra vez.
Otra vez. Yeah. It was awesome. Listen, back to the tariffs really quickly. So important. The tariffs are just another form of revenue. And so he's saying if we can make this happen, we might be able to eliminate the income tax, which, of course, would be transformatory. By the way, I do have a degree in economics from a state school. So all those fancy economists that are talking to him, my parents saved some money at Arizona State University. So I got my econ question in, and he seemed to like it.
Well, you're not allowed to leave Fox and go join the administration, but that was an excellent idea. I would personally love to keep that money, the tax dollars, if we can make so much money on these tariffs. That'd be great. What a wonderful question. Great interview. Congratulations, my friend.
Tariffs to replace income tax. How do y'all feel about that? Can't wait to have some great conversations down below in the comment section. And again, man, we are rooting for this administration, man. We send our love and prayers out, you know. And we have again, not everything is going to be a smooth road. It's going to be a bumpy road, y'all, you know. Even though it's been win after win after win after win, Trump is against a great evil, you know, and that's why we send our prayers, man. He is against a great evil. We have people that think they outrank the president, district judges, you know, Supreme Court have to step in. You know, it's crazy, man. You know, down there in Congress, I mean, it's a show. You know, a circus. The circus down there on the hill, man. But let me know what y'all think about this. I love y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, family.